A man is standing 3 feet from a stranger who is screaming into his face. Spit hits his cheek. A finger jabs the air an inch from his chest. Every instinct in his body is firing the same command: move, defend, strike back. And he does none of it. He just breathes, slow and even, and says nothing. 12 seconds later, the screaming stops. Not because security arrived, not because someone pulled the aggressor away. It stops because the aggressor, mid-sentence, simply runs out of somewhere to go.
That collapse is not luck. It is a mechanism, one the Stoics identified over 2,000 years ago, and modern psychology has only recently caught up to. And once you understand how it works, you will never look at an angry person the same way again. This is the trick nobody tells you about, and it starts with a single uncomfortable fact. Aggression is not an attack. It is a request, and every request can be denied. Here's what almost nobody realizes in the moment they're being confronted. The angrier a person becomes, the more they are running on a finite resource. Adrenaline spikes fast, but it burns even faster, and the body cannot sustain that state indefinitely. Seneca understood this without any lab equipment at all. He described anger as a fire that consumes its own fuel, burning brightest right before it collapses into ash. Every raised voice, every threatening step forward is a body spending energy it cannot replace mid-fight, which means the aggressor is on a clock, and the only variable that determines how that clock runs out is you. If you match their energy, you extend the fire. 2 people shouting create twice the fuel, and the confrontation can burn for minutes, sometimes longer. But if you refuse to add anything to it, the fire has only one direction left to go: inward, onto the person who lit it. But this still isn't the part that decides who actually wins the exchange. That part is stranger, and it lives inside your nervous system, not theirs. Human brains contain mirror neurons, cells that fire when we witness an emotion in someone else, almost as if we were feeling it ourselves. This is why a screaming person can make an entire room tense within seconds. It is also why a calm person can do the exact opposite. Marcus Aurelius never had the word neuroscience, but he wrote something eerily close to this discovery. He noted that a disturbed mind disturbs everything around it, while a settled mind settles what it touches. He was not being poetic. He was describing contagion centuries before anyone had a name for it. Here is where the trick becomes almost unfair. When you stay physically still, breathe slowly, and keep your face unreadable, you are not just failing to escalate, you are actively transmitting calm into a nervous system that is primed to mirror whatever it senses. The aggressor's own body starts absorbing signals that contradict the rage it is trying to produce. Their heart rate wants to match yours. Their breathing wants to match yours. They are fighting their own physiology at the exact moment they need it most.
This is why experienced hostage negotiators are trained to lower their voice, not raise it, the moment a situation intensifies. It is not a soft skill. It is a targeted disruption of someone else's biology. Epictetus, born into slavery and stripped of nearly every form of control a person can have, arrived at a version of this same principle from an entirely different direction. He taught that the only thing truly ours is our judgment, our response, our chosen reaction, nothing else. Not our reputation, not our comfort, not even our safety. And because judgment is the one thing an aggressor cannot physically seize from you, it becomes the one place where you remain permanently undefeated. So here's the part most people get wrong when they try this for the first time. They expect calm to instantly de-escalate the situation. It doesn't, not immediately. In the first few seconds, an aggressor who senses that their usual tactic isn't landing will often escalate harder, not softer, louder, closer, more threatening. This is the moment almost everyone breaks the trick because it feels like it's failing exactly when it needs to work. It isn't failing. It's the last surge before the collapse, the same way a fire flares brightest right before it runs out of oxygen. If you can tolerate 10 more seconds of discomfort here, you are usually watching the exact turning point in real time. This is also precisely where the habit has to be built long before you ever need it, which is the entire reason a channel like Stoic wisdom exists. Nobody discovers this kind of composure by accident in the middle of a crisis. It gets trained in small moments long before the real one arrives, and subscribing here means you get a new piece of that training every time we post. Now, here's the twist almost nobody expects. The version of you that stays calm in a screaming match is not a different person than the version of you that stays calm in traffic, or in a tense email, or when a coworker takes credit for your work. It is the exact same muscle. Marcus Aurelius rehearsed adversity daily, not because he expected an assassin around every corner, but because composure under mild irritation is what makes composure under real danger even possible. If you cannot sit through a rude comment without your pulse spiking, you will not survive a genuine threat with your judgment intact either. This is the part of Stoic training almost every modern retelling leaves out. It was never about achieving calm during the big moment. It was about making calm so automatic in small moments that the big moment never gets the chance to override it.
Back to the man standing 3 feet from a stranger's rage. What actually happened in those 12 seconds wasn't nothing. His stillness starved the confrontation of the 2 things it needed to survive: a matching emotional charge and an audience willing to keep performing back. Without either, the aggressor's own body did what bodies under extreme arousal eventually do without a matching trigger to sustain them. It ran out of road. The stranger's voice cracked, dropped, and finally stopped, not because he lost the argument, but because there was no argument left to have. He had thrown everything he had into a wall that didn't throw anything back, and there is nothing more exhausting than that. This is the trick, not a manipulation, not a trick in the sense of deceiving anyone, but a trick in the sense of a discovery, one the Stoics found through observation and discipline long before anyone could explain the biology behind it. Aggression needs a partner. Refuse to be one, and it has no choice but to collapse under its own weight. If you want to actually build this into your life rather than just admire it as an idea, it comes down to 3 trainable habits, and none of them require a dramatic confrontation to practice. First, delay your response by even 2 full seconds longer than feels natural every single time you feel provoked, no matter how small the trigger. This is the exact rehearsal Marcus Aurelius was describing, and it works on rude drivers just as well as it works on genuine threats. Second, lower your voice and slow your breathing the moment you notice someone else's voice is rising. You are not being passive. You are actively interrupting a contagion loop before it can spread to you, and often before it can even fully take hold in them. Third, remind yourself in the exact language Epictetus used with his own students that their behavior is theirs to own, and your response is yours to own, and the 2 were never actually the same thing to begin with. None of these require charisma, size, or even confidence in the traditional sense. They require only the willingness to be the one person in the room who refuses to add fuel to a fire someone else lit. The world will always contain people who mistake volume for strength. The Stoics simply understood something those people never will. Strength that needs an audience is not strength at all. It is a performance waiting for someone to stop watching. So the next time you find yourself standing close to someone else's rage, remember what is actually happening beneath the surface. Their fire is burning fast, and it is burning alone, unless you feed it. Stay still long enough, and you are not losing the moment. You are simply waiting for physics, biology, and 2,000 years of Stoic observation to finish proving you right. Thank you for watching. And if this changed the way you think about conflict, subscribe to Stoic Wisdom. Every video here is built to train the same muscle, small moment by small moment, until the big ones stop having any power over you at all. I will see you in the next one.